supposed to modify it in any way. It's basically a fill in the blank. You fill in the name of your club, and there's a couple other options in there. But you need to know where your standard club constitution is, and you need to know that it's current. Secondly, there is a companion that's called the Suggested Club Bylaws. And those bylaws are also modified to suggest a set of bylaws that correspond with the newly updated club constitution. Now, you can make your own bylaws just using the suggested bylaws, or maybe just come up with your own set of bylaws that fit your club. The only limitation is that whatever's in that set of bylaws must not be in conflict with the club constitution, and it must not conflict with Rotary International's constitution and bylaws. There's some other documents you should also have in your files. Is a club charter. Some of the clubs that are approaching 100 years old, I sometimes wonder if they still have their club charter. If you are not a incorporated club, you may have an Articles of Association, but if you are incorporated, then you should have an Articles of Association that have been filed with the state. You also need to have a copy of your tax identification number notices, your board minutes, and you should be filing those under some sort of document retention plan. A lot of clubs don't have that document retention plan. I would suggest that you consider doing that. So let's move on to the various dues that Rotary clubs pay to other Rotary entities. Rotary International dues are invoiced on July 1st and January 1st. They are emailed to your club secretary. The dues are based on the membership on those dates. So you need to keep your membership lists current, particularly just prior to those dates. You don't want to be paying dues for somebody who's no longer a member of the club. Shirley will talk about how to input your membership information at one time, so it will automatically be available at the district level and also at Rotary International. The amount of dues are approved at the prior council of legislation, and they're approved for a 3-year stretch. Normally, they show a small increase each year during that 3-year period. Both invoices will include the member dues and the member subscriptions to the Rotarian magazine. The July 1st invoice will also include a council legislation fee assessment and an assessment to cover your insurance, directors and officers, and general liability insurance that will cover Rotarians. Now, your big problem there is that is a big topic. I gave consideration of covering risk assessment, but I think that needs to be left to another time. The other set of dues that you'll get are from Rotary District 5830. They're invoiced one time a year, and that's on July 1st. They're based on the membership on the immediate prior January 1st. This was passed instituted by past district governor, or then Governor Anson Godfrey, because we wanted to get invoices out quickly, and we didn't know what the membership was in clubs sometimes till way into October of the year. And so January 1st membership levels are what the dues for the next year are based upon. And the amount of the dues are authorized by the club president-elects at the district assembly. And we've had a little bit of a vote at the very first session for the district assembly, and the dues have been approved. So we're going to turn to the third area, and this is an area that can be complicated, but it really isn't. You just need to know you need to be in compliance. First of all, you must have an employer identification number. When you're first chartered, the first thing you need to do is make an application for an EIN number. The second thing to know is that when you are first chartered, you are already covered by a group exemption, and that exemption number is 573. That group exemption is sets you up as a Section 501c4 tax exempt organization. Now that's a significant difference than what 501c3 is. 501c3 organizations are tax exempt charitable organizations. So any payments going to a Rotary Club, no matter what they're for, are not considered charitable deductions. Your dues, raffle money, best bucks, all of those things are not considered charitable deductions, and you cannot deduct them on your Schedule A as an itemized deduction. You might be able to deduct those as an ordinary and necessary business expense if you have a business and you consider it an integral part of your outreach into the community and your projection of your firm. So we'll move to federal tax reporting obligations. You're going to have to file one of the 990 versions based upon your gross receipts. 50,000 or less, you file a 990N, and that is completely an online filing. It does not take you more than 15 minutes. It asks about 5 questions and you're done. If you don't know the answer to those questions, there's something seriously wrong with you or your club. The second layer is $50,000 to $200,000 of gross receipts, and that is you file a 990Z, which is a simplified form of the main 990. If your club has gross receipts over 200,000, you're looking at filing the big form, the 990, and answering a ton of questions. Now, you need to know what gross receipts are. Gross receipts are all of the receipts of the club, no matter what the source, before any expenses are deducted. Now, if you're not netting expenses at an event, in other words, you collect, say, $1,000 in receipts, and the caterer wants $800, and you give them $800 out of those receipts before you deposit the receipts in the bank, there's a little trick you can do, and that is to take the deposits of all of the bank accounts that the club has for the 12 months, add up those deposits, and that's your gross receipts. Now, again, that is before any netting. So be careful of what you're doing there. Due date is 4.5 months after the year end. Well, every Rotary Club has a June 30th year end, so that makes the due date for every club November 15th. If you fail to file a tax return for 3 years in a row, you lose your exemption. My recommendation is you file a return every year. Does not matter if it's a 990N, 990EZ, or a 990. The biggest problem is with Rotary clubs is they change officers every year. And either your president-elects or your secretaries or treasurers may have changed hands in that 3-year period. And lo and behold, we forgot to file a tax return for any of those 3 years, and we've lost our exemption. You do not want to lose that exemption. We do have 4 clubs in the district that have lost their exemption. To my knowledge, one is diligently working at getting their, 2 of them, I'm sorry, are working on getting that exemption back. I'm not aware of what the other 2 are planning to do. But cautionary is get that tax return filed every year. Then we turn to Texas tax reporting obligations. First of all, you need to file an AP 204 so that you can be treated as a tax-exempt organization for sales taxes in Texas. And once you have that exemption, you're exempt from sales tax on purchases. You're also exempt from collecting sales tax on any sales for 1 event per year. Let's say you're running a rodeo and you've got a concession stand. The sales out of that concession stand would normally be subject to sales tax collection, but they're exempt under this provision. However, if you have a second event, for example, a concert series, that event, if you sell any merchandise, you're going to have to collect sales tax on that merchandise sales and remit it to the state. Only 1 event per year. Now, with careful planning, you can probably spread those events around in different types of organizations or entities and avoid that problem. 2 areas that come up frequently as problems for nonprofits, particularly Rotary clubs. First of all is raffles. Raffles are not ever a deductible charitable contribution. The ticket price is not a deductible contribution. If you have a winnings in excess of $600, you'll have to file a Form W-2G for those people that won more than $600. There's also an additional qualifier is that the winnings have to be 300 times the cost of the ticket, which says that if your ticket is more than $2 and you won $600, you have to receive a W-2G. It gets particularly sticky when the prizes get up over $5,000 in value. Then you're into an arena where you're going to have to start doing income tax withholding on those winnings, and then file a W-2G and also your various quarterly reporting forms. Finally, these you need to be aware of the state gaming laws to be heeded. In Texas, you can have only 2 raffles during the year. I am not aware of what Oklahoma's requirements are. Check with your state gaming commission and you'll know whether there's any limitations on how many raffles you can have in Oklahoma. The other events, and again, 501c4 organizations, and so the value of the item that's contributed, and I've used that word loosely, to the silent auction is not a deductible charitable contribution. And the winning bid is not a deductible contribution either. You have basically established the fair market value of that product or item, auction item. And so you have basically bought that item. It is not a charitable deduction. So I'm looking over here at our chat window to see if there's any questions. I don't see any, but you can throw them up there, and at the end of the session, we'll try to answer any other questions. I want to thank you all for participating in this scintillating discussion. And this is some information. If you have questions, go ahead and give me a call, and I'll help all I can. Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce District Administrator Shirley Pinnix-Evans. She's going to help with some presentations on various aspects of operating the district Club Runner software. Shirley, take it away.
Shirley?
She's there. I can see her.
I'm sorry.
There we are.
I did that last time. Everybody likes it when I'm muted, right? So I want to make.
If you'll give us just a second, we just had one question pop up. Gary George asked John, what is the deadline on Texas tax reporting?
Your sales tax reporting is normally January 30th, unless you're doing a substantial amount of sales tax collection, and then you may be required to file on a quarterly basis. But other than if you plan things right, most clubs aren't going to be collecting any sales tax and probably won't need to file a sales tax report during the year. If you do have an event, you probably need to go ahead and report, even that if it shows no sales tax collected, just so they know you had the event and you've had only one event and have complied with the sales tax regulations.
We don't see any more. Don't see any more questions right now. So Shirley, go on and tell us about Club Runner.
All right. So everyone sees the first page of the PowerPoint presentation that says District 5830 website Club Runner version. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thanks everybody for attending tonight. I will be focusing on navigating on the district website. We talked about the Rotary International website last time. But the first question is, what is Club Runner? Club Runner is a business located in Canada, and it serves thousands of Rotary clubs and districts with one goal in mind: to make technology work for everyone, everywhere, while enabling Rotarians to streamline club processes and improve productivity. We use their award-winning software. Few features and benefits of Club Runner is that keeps a central online membership directory, synchronized data updates with Rotary International, keeps our password secure and protected, online member director with committee listings, track and report weekly club attendance, and report monthly to the district. You can send personal emails, and that's a feature if you're interested in. Just let me know, and I'll get with John Jetter on that, and we can set you up. Now, if you've paid for Club Runner, and I call it Club Runner for clubs, there are more options. But tonight we're going to talk about what you have access to through the district website. The training objectives tonight is, number one, make sure you know what the website is for our district website. So it's www.rotary5830.org. We're going to talk about how to sign in and the options available in the member area, how to enter a new Rotarian. You always use Club Runner. How to enter your officers. You also use Club Runner for that. How to record monthly attendance information, which is due the 10th of each month, and understanding the club's integration policy. How to compare Club Runner data with Rotary International data, and how to resolve emails from Club Runner regarding data errors. So the first screen you're going to look at is what the district website looks like. Yes, we're an action district. We're located Northeast Texas, Southeast Oklahoma, and Southwest Arkansas. So you can see the map and where we're located on the map. But looking at the top right of the page, you're going to see member login. I've got it circled there. So you're going to click on member login, and you're going to see a login screen. So you're going to put your login name and your password, and that's different than the Rotary International website, as well as Rotary Club Central. So you were originally assigned a login name and a password on a temporary basis, which you may or may not have changed. But if you've forgotten that, you can click on Forgot Login Name and Password and get that reset. This is your first time, you can always click on New User. So once you have signed into the website, you're going to see on that dark blue banner there where my cursor is, you're going to see my name, and you're going to see member area. Member area is where we're going to focus tonight. This is for Rotarians, members of our district only. So this screen that you're going to see, you do not have access. It is available to me and the other district executives, but I wanted to kind of show you this, that who has access to make changes on your club Club Runner. And so it is your, if you look at the different positions, president, president-elect, president nominee, immediate past president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and executive secretary. If you will follow my cursor onto the blue arrow that points down to members, what that tells you is, as a district as whole, we've got 39 presidents that have entered their information that they're a president in the year of 2020-2021. So you can go down and look at the other positions that will be held next year, and you can see that that there are some clubs that are still working on deciding who their officers are. But tonight is going to be focused on how you enter those. So once you sign in and remember that member area, you're going to go to the medium blue tab or banner, you might say, and there's several tabs. But for tonight, we're going to focus on the admin, that's the administration tab, and the for clubs tab. So we're going to just focus on these two. For right now, if you clicked on for clubs, which turned white there, below that, you're going to see a list of tabs, and these are based on your sign-in. It's going to show you the areas that you can review, make changes for your club. And we're going to be talking about not all of these, but some of these. And member list, that would be where you would go to enter a new Rotarian. Define club executives would be where you would enter your officers for the year. That's two examples. So another way, if you go to the admin tab or administration tab, which that was that first tab there, this is what it's going to look like. So you're going to see this, and you're going to see two columns here, and I've cut and paste. So these columns over here to the right would end up being underneath it, so you'd have to scroll down. But what your members can do is sign in the district, and they could edit their own profile. They could change their own password, etc. What we're looking at tonight is for the officers. What areas can you make? And so once you want, if it is blued, or if it's not a dark color that you can see, then you have access. So active member list is where we're going to look at. Define club executives. We're going to talk a few minutes about how to report your attendance, and then we're going to talk about the synchronization process. And what I mean by that is comparing data that's in the Club Runner versus data that's on the Rotary International website. So again, how do you enter a new member? It's when you recruit a new member or you discover an active member is missing in your database, you should always use Club Runner. And then you would go to your member access, and you would go to the member list area. So the first thing you would ask before you enter that new member into Club Runner is, have they ever been a Rotarian before? So have they ever been a member of any club, whether it's been 2 months or a year or 2 years? Once they are a member, they're assigned a Rotary International number. That number stays with them throughout. So, and the reason for that is very important, is Rotary Foundation donations are tied to that Rotary International number, or RI number. So how do you enter a new member? So you go to your active list member. This is a good way you could check to make sure all of your members are actually in Club Runner. You could go down, they're in alphabetical order by last name. If you have a lot of members, you can go straight to the alphabet listing in here and go right to that person. But at the right is circled around, and it's got add new member. So you would click on that to add a member. And these are, I'm going to go through pretty quick, but these are just self-explanatory. The information that is in red are required fields, like the first and the last name and the gender. And then the membership type, whether they're active or honorary. In the past, there were some other choices, but there's only 2 on the Club Runner, either active or honorary. And then the sponsor, what Rotarian encouraged that person to enter, to join Rotary and to become a member, would go in there. And then the dates, the join date of Rotary and the join date of the club can be 2 different dates, because they could have been a transferring Rotarian, so their join date would be when they originally became a Rotarian. So one thing to remember when you're loading in a new member is you cannot go past the 30 days from the day that you're entering. So if you do that and you try to backdate it past that 30 days, it will give you an error message. So just for that, just a reminder there. This is a self-explanatory. For the address, you have to decide if they want information sent to their home or work, and then you fill in their address, city, and zip code, state, and etc. And this is where it's really important. If this is a transferring member or a past Rotarian, and you need to know what their original Rotary number is, this is where I can help you. If they or have been a member of our district and made contributions, I can look at their active and inactive list and identify what that number is. They may know what that number is. A lot of times on the Rotarian magazine, part of that number, they've added a number to that, but part of their RA number is located on their magazine if they have any of that. But knowing where they were a former member in their district is always helpful. So so how do they get their login name and temporary password? So once this is loaded in, it's pre-filled. So the email address is entered, and then it pre-fills the login name, which is a temporary login name and a password. Also, if you notice, unless you uncheck this, there will be an email sent to that member, welcome them to Rotary, and giving them their temporary user ID and password. The next section is really important because going back to were they a Rotarian before or not, if they are a brand new Rotarian, if they've never been a member, then you do want to report that to Rotary International because they're the ones that issue the Rotary number. If you have the number or you know they're a previous Rotarian, you do not report that to Rotary International. Now, if you do, by accident, it will issue two numbers, and there is a way to combine the files because I've had some Rotarians that had 3 or 4 Rotary numbers, and they had contributions in those all 3 numbers. So we were able, with a little work, to combine files. But this is just a FYI, and to be aware of this screen and think about, do I need to send this information to Rotary International or not? So after you complete this, you just hit add member, and it's completed. So now we're going to change a little bit, and we're going to talk about entering club officers. Remember that member access when you first signed in, and that tab that we said we were going to talk about. We're still in the 4 clubs tab, and now we're going to define club officers. And so when you do that, it's going to actually give you any officers that has already been listed. And as you noticed, I'm on the 2020-2021 year. And this is actually my club. And we've got some officers, but our president-elect, Landon, and he's on the call tonight, but he's still working on getting all of his officers. So we're going to use this as an example. So I'm going to go to the next screen because we need to have our president-elect to follow him. So if you hit edit, this screen will come up, and it will pre-fill the position and the title, and then it will have in the names, it will have a drop down which will display all of your members, and then you pick which member has agreed to be president-elect, and you hit save. So now we're switching topics again. We're going to club attendance. Club attendance is due the 10th of the month. Again, we're on the district website. We're we're still on the 4 clubs tab. Now we're going to go over to club attendance. It's circled. And when you click on that, it's going to pull up a monthly attendance report, and it's going to have your club name. This is where you manually type in the information. So I just went back and did July of 2019. I had to enter the number of members at the end of the month, any new members during the month, any termination during this month, and how many times a month did we meet. And then I had to do a calculation to enter, and after I did my calculation to enter what the attendance percentage, I entered that. The next screen, the attendance form, is just something that I prepared about 2 or 3 years ago for a club, and it gives you a simple formula on how to figure it. You may have a more sophisticated way to figure your attendance percentages. Those clubs that have paid for Club Runner for Clubs, they actually, all they have to do is enter whether that Rotarian was present or not. And it actually does all the calculations for them, and they just have to end that file at the end of the month. And so, but again, the attendance report's due the 10th of the month. And you can have makeups 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after. You do not count honorary members in your attendance. If they come, it's wonderful, but it does not count for or against you in the calculation. So I have given you an example of what the formula is and how I figured. So I won't go into detail on that, but that's how I manually figured that. If you want a form sent to you, just email me and I'll be glad to do that. So the next thing we're going to talk about is integration privacy policy. So I did not show you how to set up, because all the clubs in the district actually have set, except for one, a new club, and they're working on it, have set up a private policy. What that means is, what information is the club willing to share with Rotary International? And so you choose as a club what your policy is and what is private and you do not want to share. In this example, you see check marks in every category, but you could go back into, and I'll show you in just a minute how you find this, but you could go back in there, and it really, in some cases I've found that some club have not reviewed their integration policy for some time, and they may want to make some changes or may not, but it is good to review and see what has been shared with Rotary International. A point made is if the policy says do not share email information with Rotary International, then that Rotarian will not receive any communication by email from Rotary International. So that's just one example of that. So if you choose a integration policy and everybody but maybe one or two said, I really don't want my email address, or I don't want my date of birth shared with Rotary International, each individual member has a profile, and they can go to the privacy tab in their profile, and they can choose what they want to share with Rotary International. They may be okay with having their information on the club level for the club officers to see, but they don't want it out there on the site. So now this is something that we've been doing for the last 3 years, about a couple of times a year, and we do compare and synchronize. And we look at the synchronization of each club to see if there is something that is different, which means is the data in Club Runner, which is the district information, is it the same that Rotary International has? So what I did was I ran a member synchronization. And again, how you find that is you're in the member area, you are in the tabs for clubs, and then under those tabs, I'm going to the very last tab in that section, and I'm clicking on RI member synchronization. So there was no errors that found, but it will pull up all of your members, and it will allow you to click on compare. And when you do that, you can actually look at and compare the information from Club Runner to RI, and we'll show you in a minute on my actual profile what that looks like. So there are times that there are errors that come up, and when I say errors, it's just a matter of the information is not matching. So in this example, member name and member type are mismatched. So the difference is on Club Runner, we've got the last names are different than what's in Rotary International. And so that's going to come up until we decide if we need to, if the information in Club Runner is correct, then the secretary needs to go out to the RI and correct that last name. depending on which one is correct. If the information in RI, which is here, is correct, then you would correct Club Runner. So this one, mistype matches. So another example is we've got four records here, and all four records have the Rotary International number. It'll tell you on the type, which is the classification type, whether it's active or inactive or whatever, not classification, but whether it's active or inactive. On Club Runner, it's showing all four of those members active, but on the Rotary International site, it's showing terminated. And these files were last updated, and you can see the dates that they were updated there. So this is an easy fix. You just have to review to see what is correct, and I'm always available to help to correct these if you need help. This is my example of my member profile. I'm comparing what Club Runner has versus what RI has. Now, I did blank out my date of birth, so I didn't really want y'all to know how young I was. So anyway, I did cover that up a little bit, but my name and first name and middle name and last name is correct. If you notice, the sponsor is on Club Runner, but RI doesn't currently have a field, and that's why that didn't map over, but everything else is matching. So I'm good on both of the databases. So this is an example of members missing in Club Runner. And I don't know who's, and I just pulled this up yesterday. So this is current information. I don't remember whose club this was, so I hope I'm not embarrassing anybody. I'm sorry, but this is an easy fix. But if you notice, there's 5 files, 5 Rotarians, and they all joined in February and March of this year. And they all have Rotary International numbers. But if you look at the club member type, there's no club member type. But they are in a club member type on the Rotary International. So what it's telling you is that these Rotarians are not showing on the Club Runner. It is showing in the RI site. So what I did was I don't immediately take the report. I go directly to the list of the club members to see if maybe if I clicked on add member and Jennifer was already on this particular club's site, then I would have two Jennifers. And so you want to always make sure and not automatically add. So, but I did, and there were not, these 5 members were not listed under the club's member record. So those really just have to, you can just click on add member and it will add those members to your Club Runner. And that is an exception to the rule, because most everything, unless it is in this setting, will not funnel back from Rotary International to Club Runner. That's why it's very, very important that you always enter everything into Club Runner. And because of your integration policy and sharing of information, then it does funnel to RI. So I will investigate and help this club out and talk about that. But that is a really good example of what happened was the new members were set up directly in the RI site.
Shirley, this is Judy.
Uh-huh.
They're ours, and we'll fix it tomorrow.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well, if you need help, let me know.
That's okay. No, we'll fix it tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So the screen here is another era. What happens is the club presidents and the secretaries, maybe some of the treasurers, will receive an email from Club Runner. And they receive it when a synchronization, and they run it too. when the synchronization and the information does not match. And I pulled this one up because sometimes when the error comes in, it's not really an error. All it is the information does not match. And if you look on the issue number 1 and you look at the additional information, the message is cannot terminate positions, club runner. I'm on club membership chair to add to membership. So what happened was I did a little investigating. So what happened is when this year's one of the citation requirements was to set up a membership committee and to have no less than 5 members on that committee. So the club was doing exactly like they should. They went into Club Runner to enter that chair of the membership committee and their 5 members. And so Rotary International does not need all of that information. So there was not a field out there to enter those members, just the chairman. So when you determine that it's really not an error, and again, this is something that sometimes takes a little investigation, just give me a call, don't spend a lot of time. But once you determine that everything is fine and if there was something that didn't match, it's corrected, you have to click down here, click here to stop the notification about this issue and mark as resolved. Because a Club Runner will continually send you emails on these until you mark that issue resolved. So those presidents and secretaries that are getting all those emails from Club Runner, that's just one example of how you can correct that. Just mark it resolved as long as it is correct. So I am actually almost through. I'm going to go to the live demo on the district website, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm always available for training. The Rotary Club Central that we just had last week, Club Runner, just email me or call me if there's other training that you need on any other topic. Just let us know. And point 3 is this is my email address and phone number. And hopefully everybody received the PowerPoint presentation that you can keep and hopefully as a resource. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stop my slide, stop sharing here. And then I'm going to go to the live website. Bear with me just a minute. Okay. So, John Jetter, do you see the Rotary site? Anybody?
Actually, I see Zoom.
Yeah,
Shirley,
that's
all
what
I
I
see
see
is
too,
them.
Shirley.
Okay. All righty. How about that?
Still on Zoom.
I
Okay.
think you've selected the wrong screen there, maybe,
Nope. Yep.
to share. There you go.
There you go.
You're at it.
Okay, great. I just didn't click hard enough. So what y'all are seeing is what our district website looks like. And so this is actually on my club. I've signed in as a club officer, not as a district administrator. So that member area that we keep talking about is right there. And the log out when you want to, when you're finished with your investigation or looking at whatever you need to up on the district website. But again, we are the action district. That's the banner there at the top of the screen. And then I'm going to kind of scroll on down. And there's really 3 sections that I want to cover. So I'm going to go to the left side of the screen, and you should be able to see district information. I'm kind of pointing with my pointer. And you can pull up the organizational chart and the chart with the photos. but the club directory and contact is what I want to show you. So I'm going to click on that. It's rolling around. So does everybody see club directory and contact?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So if you are, say you're traveling and you want to make up at a club, but you're not really sure, you know the area you're going to be in, and you're going to, let's say you're going to make up with immediate past district governor Judy Guthrie. So I'm going to click on Carthage, and it's going to pull up some information on them. It's going to pull up who the area governor is, when they meet, the time they meet, the location, and it also gives the map. So it really gives information. You can go on down and you can find out who the president is. Mary Moss is president. She's doing an outstanding job. And President-elects and all the officers. So you can get a lot of information, and you could also email, click on their name and email them if you wanted to kind of say, hey, I'm going to come to your club and make up at your club that day. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to hit the back arrow button. And another thing is, if you are new at developing your website, if you look at the very left column there on that, the website, if you see a little house, that means they've got a website. And so if you want some ideas about what to display on your website that you're creating, you can just click on one of the websites. I'm going to click on Marshall, and it's pulling up. And you can see a lot of information. You can see what's going on in their club, what some of their service projects. You can a list of the club administration, the club history, and some of their projects there that they're doing. And so that is a really good source of information that I really like. So now the next thing, I'm going to go back to the home page. So right below that, I'm going to click on home to get me back to the main screen. And I want you to follow along on these tabs here. The home screen, right next to the home screen, is a calendar. We post all district events on the calendar. So if you like to plan ahead and just kind of save the date, you can look on the calendar and see what events. Also, when the clubs are having fundraising events, they give me that information so it can help promote that. So that's also on there. The Iron Lung, which a lot of people use for parades and different things to promote polio awareness. That's also listed there. The Avenue of Service is next. It's the Avenue of Service that you can just as a reminder, and Rotary Foundation, but the forms and information tab is really good. So if you're working on a project grant or a district grant, you can go down to 4 club projects and it will give you the forms, the application. Once you do the club project, where the interim report form is, the last form, and also this very first thing will give you what you're actually is available for you to apply for 2021. And I believe those grants are already being completed and submitted. But that is really good information. You can also, I'm back on the forms information and go down to foundation contributions. To the left of that, it's going to pull up all the foundation forms, contribution forms, whether you're doing multiple donations or one donation, or if you're using your Paul Harris Fellow transfer points to give to someone or recognize someone in the community, those are the forms there. The next thing I want to do is I want to go down to the middle section, and that's where we have the information coming from the district. And so our district governor and District Governor Jim Finstrom always has an article that we post. And then whatever the month that we're focusing on, April was Child Health Care Month. And so we will talk about that, and a membership minute that is a monthly article and informational on membership from past District Governor Lee Montgomery. And then District Governor-elect Jack Welge has information about his upcoming year. So, and also I love hearing success stories and what you're doing in the community. So please send those articles in. We've got Lone Star Pets and the people in our district that I know Barbara's on the call, and Sarah Fox, I think, I'm not sure she's on the call, but I believe she's registered. Anyway, so, you know, look for those pictures and look for those articles about our Rotarians. Then on the right side, then, if you want to look at past bulletins, we have the last 3 bulletins and also Rotary links. So if you're on the district website and you want to jump over to the Rotary International site, then you go to there. Let me go straight to the left. If you'll follow me a minute, I failed to mention a couple of other areas on the left side. If you're looking for something from the district, a lot of times we post it out there. For instance, rules on the four-way test. Now it is canceled, but the rules and the applications to participate is put out there. Sorry. The district strategic plan is out there. The addresses for all the clubs and just unlike that. And then below there are, anytime we have an event, we take pictures, and so we have photo albums. That's a fun place to go and see who you can see there in the photo albums. So that is all I have, and so I'm going to unmute everyone. Or Jack, would you unmute yourself, and then I'm going to turn it over back to you, District Governor-elect Jack Welge.
I think I'm unmuted, and thank you so much, Shirley. We appreciate your presentation and also John's. We did have a couple of questions that came in. One from Holly Lewis, and that was regard to meetings that should have occurred, and it came up from the standpoint of reporting meetings and reporting attendance. And Holly's question was for attendance during the stay-at-home orders and those clubs that did not meet during this time for a variety of reasons. Will the lack of meetings and attendance go against them? And I think that would be one that Shirley, you might want to weigh in on, and also our District Governor, Jim Finstrom.
Well, I know a lot of the clubs are meeting in different ways. They may not be meeting in person. They may be doing projects, and it takes Rotarians to set up those projects. So I think the Zoom meetings, the projects, I think that can count. I'm going to let it turn it over to District Governor Jim Finstrom for that, and maybe some input from John Jetter on how we're going to look at that as far as reporting.
And you might need to unmute all of us.
Shirley, thank you. Rotary International did cancel all person-to-person meetings until June 1st, I think. So they wouldn't keep any statistics for that time period. There weren't any official offline meetings. to my knowledge. So I don't think we'll see any negative effects from that. It'll just be the same for everybody. And John may know something more about that than I do because he's on the Council of Legislation. They may have discussed that.
Well, I would think that essentially we're all being treated as on a leave of absence. So if we do have a meeting, whether it's virtually or whatever, we go ahead and record the attendance just like we would folks coming in on a leave of absence. So yes, keep attendance. It's important to know that everybody is still trying to get together one way or another. That's the most important key to attendance is if you don't meet, pretty soon you lose the connections. And that's what's so important about Rotary is the connections. Attending this district training assembly is essentially a makeup. And you can provide your club secretary with that information. So, you know, we'll have 4 of these sessions. That's 4 makeups right there. So you've got somewhere between 50 and 75 Rotarians who have perfect attendance for the last month, essentially. So just treat it like everybody's on a leave of absence. And if there is a event at the club, whether it's a virtual meeting or a board meeting virtually, or if the club is out picking up trash, but still observing wearing face masks and 6 foot separation, that's a makeup. So I think Rotary would appreciate, and particularly Governor Jim would appreciate knowing that his clubs are making the effort to remain engaged.
All of us would like to see each other to know that we remained engaged, particularly Jack.
Yes, absolutely. So at this point, I'm not seeing any further questions. I would like to remind everyone of our meeting this Thursday so that we can wrap up our district training assembly in this month. This Thursday, we'll be talking about maintaining a vibrant club, and our presenter for that is Amanda Fulmer. We'll also be talking about membership and visioning, how to touch the future, and our presenters there will be Lee Montgomery and our visioning chair, Sam Scroggins. Do y'all have anything, both Lee and Sam are on the call tonight. Do y'all have anything further you want to tell us a little bit about that for Thursday?
Thank you,
It's going to
Jack.
be exciting.
It's going to be good. I did look up something in Club Runner just a while ago, and I found out that Shirley's 29.
Oh, thank you. I'll send a check.
Again.
That's great.
Again.
That's great.
I think her birthday was yesterday.
Well, does anyone have any further business for this evening? If not, I'm going to call on Mary Wormington, if I may, for the 4-way test.
Am I unmuted? Oh,
You
yeah.
are unmuted.
Okay. The 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First.
The truth.
Second.
Is it fair to
all concerned?
Third.
Will it
Third.
Goodwill and better friendships.
Fourth.
Will it
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And everyone's number 5.
Will it be fun?
Thank you, Mary. And you didn't say so, but I'm sure that you would want all of us to know that today is East Texas Giving Day.
Yes.
And so if you care to do so, please go on the web and record that.
Yes. Thank you.
Certainly. So thank you again, John. Thank you again, Shirley, and we hope to see all of y'all Thursday night. Thank you so much.
Ding.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Have a good
Good night.
evening.
Bye.
Good night.
All right.